24 hours ago, I was staring down the barrel of losing my house to a corrupt HOA board. Today, I own them. I'm not kidding. I'm standing in the exact same driveway where a sheriff handed me those foreclosure papers. My old diesel truck engine ticking in the silence, and all I can think is, God, what a difference a day and a whole lot of stubbornness can make. You want to know what real revenge feels like? I'll tell you, there's nothing sweeter than watching your enemies bury themselves with the very laws they tried to use against you. That crunch, crunch, crunch you hear, that's just my boots chewing up the same gravel where Miranda Ashworth, the queen of HOA hell, once stood, smirking about how she was going to steal my home. Well, now I'm holding the deed to her house. Yeah, that happened. Now, before you wonder how a blue-collar electrician like me flipped the script on the sort of people who talk more about community standards than actual community, let me back up a sec. My name's Garrett Blackwood, and 15 years ago, after my wife Sarah lost her fight with cancer, I took the insurance money and bought a dusty half-acre lot outside Tulsa, Oklahoma. The developer was bankrupt, the grass was knee-high, and the only thing cheaper than the land was the plywood you could buy down at the lumber yard. But that plot saved my life. I spent every weekend for 2 years, just me, a thermos of bad coffee, and Sarah's hand-drawn sketches on diner napkins, building a simple ranch house with a big kitchen window facing east, a shop for my business, and a little corner where the grandkids we never had might have played someday. That smell of sawdust and raw Oklahoma air kept me breathing when the world went dark. Every stud I nailed, every wire, I ran therapy, man. You know what I mean? When I finally moved in, half the lots were still empty. No HOA, no covenants, just neighbors who waved and minded their business. My work truck beat up Ford ladders rattling sat in the driveway, no problem. But 3 years ago enrolled Miranda. White BMW platinum hair nails like razor blades, smile so fake you could hear the glue crack. Within 6 months, she'd charmed her way onto the board and declared herself president, promising improvements. The first violation letter landed like a dead fish on my doorstep. Commercial vehicles aren't permitted in driveways. She snapped perfume so thick I nearly choked. I told her I never signed any covenants. She just smiled, cold, practiced. The covenants run with the land, Mr. Blackwood. Perhaps you should have read them before you built. Built like I was cooking meth instead of building a home. It went downhill fast, letters, fines, threats. My truck, my shed, even the basketball hoop. My nephew left behind. Everything was a $50 fine, then $100, then $500. Every time Miranda's signature in that horror movie red ink, like she was sealing my fate in blood. I tried talking sense to her once down by the mailbox. She looked me up and down like I'd tracked mud onto her marble floors and said, "Some people just don't belong in nicer neighborhoods, Garrett. Maybe it's time you realize that." Next thing I knew, I was holding a certified foreclosure notice, $47,000 in fines, 30 days to pay, or they'd take my house. My house. The one I built with my own 2 hands with money from Sarah's life. I sat at my kitchen table staring at that notice, the same spot where Sarah dreamed out the window while chemo dripped in her arm. They wanted a fight, they were about to get one. Miranda couldn't even wait for the clock to run out. She called an emergency board meeting to speed up my foreclosure. I could hear her across the street at her coffee party. We simply cannot allow one person's defiance to destroy everyone's investment, stirring her latte with those claws. The thing about bullies, they never know the law as well as they think. That weekend, I pulled every Oklahoma HOA statute I could find, read till my eyes hurt, and what I found made me mad and hopeful. Oklahoma law requires a minimum 30-day notice for foreclosures. Miranda's little emergency was flat out illegal. Monday morning, I took my $300 money I needed for groceries and filed an injunction myself. Judge Morrison read my case, looked at Miranda's paperwork, and just shook his head. "Mrs. Ashworth, did your board consult with counsel before attempting to circumvent state law? You should have seen her turn purple. He granted my extension and ordered the HOA to pay my filing fee. That was the first time I thought maybe, just maybe, I could win. But Miranda was just getting started. 2 days later, city code enforcement was at my door, anonymous tip about unpermitted electrical work. Turns out an outlet I'd installed 8 years back needed a $15 permit, and they tried to hit me with a $15,000 fine and threatened my license. I could see Miranda gloating through her window arms folded, watching it all. The inspector just shrugged. "Nothing personal, Mr. Blackwood." "Right." Then came her masterstroke, a $5,000 special assessment on every house supposedly for urgent improvements, really just a slush fund to crush me legally. The boarder, her cronies, and one guy who always looked like he'd wandered into the wrong meeting held a backyard vote under the bug zapper. Neighbors stared at their shoes. Miranda dabbed at fake tears, talking about hard choices and protecting our community. But buried in the fine print, board members' own properties, owned through LLCs, were exempt. They wouldn't pay a dime. Now here's the twist. Being an electrician, I know how to trace a problem to its source. I spent 3 days digging up every record on Willowbrook Estates, and guess what? The original HOA incorporation expired in 2007, 16 years ago. They'd never renewed it. Miranda had zero legal authority to fine, foreclose, or do anything. She'd been running an illegal racket, threatening folks with the legal authority of a lemonade stand. I copied everything, mailed it to my lawyer cousin in Oklahoma City, and stored the rest in my safe. Did that stop her? Not a chance. A 60-page lawsuit landed from a fancy law firm trying to slap a lien on my house for $63,000 in enforcement costs. That same night, someone slashed my truck tires, spray-painted "move out" on my mailbox in what looked a lot like Miranda's blood red ink, and neighbors got anonymous flyers. One bad apple spoils the bunch. But you know what electricians talk. My buddy Jake called from Broken Arrow, same law firm, same foreclosure tricks, only their HOA president got arrested for fraud. Suddenly I wasn't alone. I was onto something big. Miranda got desperate, dug up Sarah's death records, found her estranged sister in Phoenix, and tried to claim I didn't legally own the house because of some probate irregularity. The day those papers landed was Sarah's birthday. I was shaking with rage, sitting in my workshop, her favorite song on the radio, and I just snapped. I dove into the law library, digging up every dirty secret on Piton, Klein and Associates. 3 prior fraud cases, ethics violations, even a 2019 reprimand for harassing homeowners with bogus suits. But the real gold. The HOA's insurance policy didn't cover any action not authorized by a legally existing board, which meant everything Miranda did was uninsured. She and her crew were personally on the hook. That's when Miranda crossed the last line. She sent her teenage son Tyler and 2 friends to break into my shop and trash my tools. Cops called it boys being boys. So I built a team. Jake Betty, the retired paralegal, who'd been burned by her own HOA, Marcus, the Channel 8 reporter hungry for a corruption story, and Tom, a county detective who'd seen this scam before. We started putting the puzzle together. Miranda's shell company bank records, wire fraud links to other subdivisions, over $1.2 million stolen from regular folks just like me. And here's the kicker. Miranda had never passed the bar exam. She'd been practicing law illegally, which voided every legal move she'd made. We packaged everything: documents, audio, video, witness statements, and dropped the bomb at the courthouse right as Miranda was getting ready to auction off my house to her own shell company. The FBI, IRS, state prosecutors, everyone came running. The aftermath was pure poetic justice. The neighborhood voted Miranda out, installed Betty as president, refunded every illegal fine, and used Miranda's seized assets to rebuild the playground and start a victim fund for other homeowners. Miranda's husband got 3 years for bank fraud. The family that once ruled the block can't even show their faces at the grocery store. Sarah's memorial garden, built with settlement money, became the neighborhood's gathering place. Anna, a widow I met at a homeowner meeting, is now my fiancée. My work truck sits in the driveway right where it belongs. And every morning as I sip coffee, I remember sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous when you push them too far. So what about you? Ever gone to war with an HOA? Ever watched a bully trip over their own rules? Drop your story in the comments. Don't let these people tell you where you do or don't belong. Documentation beats intimidation, and truth beats money every single time. Hit subscribe for more tales of regular folks taking down the corrupt, and stick around. Next week, I'll tell you about the city councilman who tried to shut down my business for exposing Miranda's crimes, and how that backfired even worse. Remember, justice only works if you fight for it. Sometimes the best revenge is just living well in the house they tried to steal.